Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E, God work Sister E. Charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak, if you subscribe we going deep. Love talk Sister E, God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E.
What's going on, good people? What's going on? What's going on? I'm here. I'm here. All right. Y'all, I came out here really quick because I heard a little birdie told me something, or I saw it online today. Hold on, let me shut my little room door because it seems like everybody gets loud when I'm going live. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. This my little backboard. Oh, I'm folding clothes, y'all. I am packing because I have to go out of town. So ignore the backdrop. I'm folding clothes and packing, so don't judge me. So you know how it is when you are packing. So you see all that stuff back there? Everything is going in a bag. Pray for me, saints, cause I'm not done packing and I gotta be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna be so sleepy. Oh, I'm gonna be so sleepy. So pray for me, saints. Let me see how much more I got left. Yep, got quite a bit. That bench is full of clothes. So, y'all, I heard through the great. Let me see who out here. What's going on, good people? Who do I have in the house? Come on, y'all. I know it's late at night. I kind of wanted to talk about this. Um, and I know people are sleeping. But something interesting came up. So I was online today about 2 hours ago. And while I was online, I saw a post that they said that speculation or possibly Saturday, Trump was trying to hit that nuke code, and his military generals said no go on it. Now I don't know how true it is, but I'm gonna play this little video, and y'all understand that I'm packing, so I'm gonna be in and out of the conversation. So let me go straight to the video. Hold on. Uh, it's, I'm gonna go to it. We're gonna play a little bit of it. I'm gonna go straight to it because again, I gotta get the packing, and if I don't pack, it's gonna be a mess tomorrow. Let's see. Let me find the one that I just saw. Okay, which one is it? Here it is. It's just a quick little video. So, and I news reports. Hold on. So I'm gonna play this person. So before I do, let me read my disclaimer. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay, so let's see. Um, hold on. Can y'all hear the background noise? Let me know if y'all can hear the background noise. Because for some reason everybody's up watching TV and they're loud. Let's see. Let me do my little disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107, Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use and for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use, fair use. I hope the noise isn't real loud in the background because my daughter and her friends, I told y'all, hold on 1 second. Wait a minute, that's outside. Hold on, y'all. I told y'all where I live. What's going on? Somebody said, "What's up, Brooklyn lady?" Okay, let's get it started. So I'm gonna go to this report, and it's very interesting. When I came, and I'm like I said, I'm going straight to the point. No chasing. Fact of this weekend, we all know that his generals would not allow him into the war room this weekend. So that made me wonder something's going on. So let me play this really quick first. Everybody up in my house because we gotta all hit the road in the morning. I am going to be exhausted. Let's see. Let me see. Trump war room. Let's see. Here it is. Let me. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. That's not the right one. Um, Let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to get to the. Here we go. I'm gonna play this one. How everybody doing? I don't want to play Willie D because he'll really quick hit you with something. So his military, y'all understand that I'm doing this off the top of the dome, y'all, because I haven't mapped this out or how I'm gonna do it. So bear with me. Here we go. I'm gonna share this. Share this. So they said Trump. Let's start with this. Trump was actually not allowed to come into the actual war room this weekend. So they said he was real pissed off about that. Let me share my screen. Fair use.
If you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe to Mirror Now.
I am talking. Hold on. I'm so sorry, y'all. I thought I was unplugged. Hold on. I'm finna go back to the other video. But with that being said, I'm gonna go back to my original point. I'm gonna tell y'all what I just said. I'm back now. So ultimately, what's going on is they said Saturday they had a situation room. I've heard this on Saturday, and Trump was locked out of it, and they said he was pissed off because they would not allow him to know what's going on. And ultimately, it led to him, just cutting up and panicking. Let me see, Trump and situation war room lockout. Let's see. So with him being locked out, he was thoroughly pissed off because he wants to be involved in the conversation. But here we go. This is what I found it. I found it. I don't know why I thought I had to.
And it was Good Friday when Donald Trump learned that 2 of his American pilots went missing inside Iran amid the war in West Asia. What followed was hours of fury and a president shut out of his own war room. On April 3rd, a US F-15 fighter jet was shot down deep inside Iranian territory. As the pilots ejected onto hostile ground, instantly the US military's race against time began. Both pilots were eventually rescued, but behind the scenes, things were far from calm. An explosive report has now revealed chaos inside the Situation Room, and the reality was far from glorious. President Donald Trump was briefed. The memory of the 1979 Iran hostage crisis loomed large as Trump reportedly feared the political fallout of failure. Reports suggest he privately recalled how it cost Jimmy Carter the presidency. As tensions rose, so did tempers. Reports claim Trump lashed out, spending hours screaming at his aides in nearly an empty West Wing. And then came the extraordinary decision. The commander-in-chief was reportedly cut off, kept away from the planning phase of the rescue operation. The military officials reportedly believed his impulsive interference could jeopardize the mission. So they limited his access and only shared updates at meaningful moments. However, top officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance and Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, monitored the mission closely, tracking every move from secure locations. The White House has neither confirmed nor denied these reports. When asked about claims whether Trump was kept out of the Situation Room, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said this.
President Trump remained a steady leader our country needs. President Trump campaigned proudly on his promise to deny the Iranian regime the ability to develop a nuclear weapon, which is what this noble operation accomplishes.
Now, inside the operation, the risks were real. Within hours, the first airman was located and rescued, but the second pilot remained missing, injured, alone, and being hunted. US aircraft faced enemy fire, some were damaged. Others reportedly failed in harsh desert conditions. At one point, rescue planes struggled in the sand. The mission nearly stalled, but forces adapted fast. On the ground, the missing airman moved silently, evading Iranian patrols, waiting for extraction. Meanwhile, US forces executed diversion tactics, drawing attention away from the real rescue path. It was strategy, precision, and survival. More than 24 hours later, the second airman was finally located and rescued under the cover of darkness. The operation had stretched across Easter weekend, a tense, high-stakes window where every minute could have changed the outcome. In the end, both airmen were brought home, a mission later described as daring and historic, even praised as an Easter miracle. Trump and Hegseth had hailed the mission as a resounding success, painting the mission in glowing and triumphant terms.
The second rescue mission involved 155 aircraft, including 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircraft, and more. We were bringing them all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge. We wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there.
So the operation may have ended in success, but it has opened new questions inside Washington about decision-making, about control, and about how far the war could have gone.
The world moves fast. Power shifts, unexpected developments, changing alliances.
This is what I heard. Hold on one second. Hold on. My house is. All right, I'm back. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so this is what I gathered, and they talked about how, when President Trump learned about the two American pilots he was had gone missing on Good Friday, he screamed at his aides for hours and was then kept out of the room. So this happened on Easter, my bad, while his team was given minute by minute updates. So he pretty much was kept out of the room, and he was shouting, he was pissed. This was back April 3rd, which and it was dealing with the F-15 fighter jets, was shot down over Iran on April 3rd, prompting a high-stake rescue mission for the missing airmen. One crew member was swiftly rescued by U.S. forces after ejecting himself from the aircraft before the aircraft went down. But the second crew member spent more than 24 hours behind enemy lines before he was safely extracted. So ultimately, when they was trying to do this, they were can y'all hear me? They were working to get them rescued, but they kept him out of the war room. And they said over the next 24 hours, Trump's most senior aides and administration officials, including J.D. Vance, which is his vice president, and White House chief of staff, dialed into the situation room. So they still had them in the room, but they pretty much, and it's Susie Wells. So they pretty much kept him out that room. And they said, Trump was not included in the meeting, but was kept updated at meaningful moments on the phone, according to Washington or WSJ, citing a senior administration official. Aides kept the president out of the room as they got minute by minute updates because they believed his impatience wouldn't be helpful, and the official told the newspaper. So they said he's not in his right mindset. They're keeping him out of these conversations. This is going to lead to my next thing. I'm finna play this, y'all. I've been trying to go here, and I'm trying to, build something where it shows that Trump is really pretty much running rogue, I think. And his officials are like, we got to keep him out of these conversations because, one, the biggest problem with Trump is he takes things to social media. I dropped the link in the chat if y'all want to read more into the article. So they said his behavior has been erratic. They said they can't get him to, chill out. And he pretty much been just rogue, pretty much. Well, today I ran across something, and I'm going to share the screen, my good people. Y'all don't judge how I'm looking right now. I told y'all I'm packing. I got a t-shirt on that don't even match my shirt, but we're here. I wanted to find this, but they said this came out 6 hours ago, and it's been on TikTok. If y'all haven't seen TikTok, it's been kind of on TikTok. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct or accurate, but it has been said. Today I saw it on TikTok, and I saw a couple of little news postings. I don't know how true it is. So speculations are that Trump, and this is just on this Saturday. This is what happened this Saturday. That Trump asked for nuke code on Iran. That's the question. Retired CIA analyst Larry Johnson drops explosive claims. Are y'all ready to hear this? Let me know. Give me a 1 in the chat if y'all want to hear this. Because I'm going to run this video and we're going to talk about this. And if I don't complete the conversation tonight, I'm most definitely going to complete it before this week is out. So give me a 1 if y'all got that time to have this conversation. All right. We're going to play Fair Use. This is 20 minutes long.
Right now, Donald Trump seems to be going on the deep end in regards to this conflict with Iran. And as I said before, this is not the American war with Iran. This is the Israeli war with Iran. And the unfortunate situation is right now, this is allegations. There's been reports, and this is from different testimonies. But according to retired CIA analysis Larry Johnson, during an emergency meeting on Saturday, Donald Trump, the peace president who has a Nobel Peace Prize that he did not earn that was given to him, tried to use the nuclear codes on Iran and was stopped by General Dan Kane. According to Johnson.
Now, this came out today, y'all. This isn't what's going on. Zakeem Bateman, what's up? But this isn't like last week. This came out today. I saw this today and it was kind of shocking. So I'm gonna play a little bit more of this. We're gonna watch this. Hopefully this guy don't shut me down. Props. Go to his channel to check out the report. Fair use. I'm utilizing for education purposes only. I'm not trying to steal your stuff, sir. So don't mess with my channel. I just want to let everybody be informed. Email me if you got a problem with it, but just don't mess with the channel. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this. Fair use.
There is something seriously wrong with Donald Trump. Now, again, okay. This is an allegation. An allegation because this has to deal with the Strait of Hormuz. So again, folks, this is from different testimonies, but let's go ahead and play this video.
They recognize they've got some problems. They got to try to deal with it. And then there was a report out that they had an emergency meeting Saturday night. And apparently, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump.
Okay, so let me go to this report so we can see the date on this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm finna go to it. I'm sorry. I know y'all. Let me see what's the date on this. I'm gonna play it, but I want to see what the date is. I'm gonna play it because I wanted
to use the nuclear codes.
Okay, I'm starting over.
That they had an emergency meeting Saturday night, and apparently, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes, and General Dan Kane stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground. So there's some very, very bizarre things going on in D.C.
Well, on Saturday night, excuse me, Larry, Trump.
So that's the issue. Now, why am I talking about this? Because this kind of happened again.
President Trump for about 20 minutes, and he told me if Iran does not sign this deal, the whole country is getting blown up. He went on to say that bridges and power plants will be targeted if Iran does not sign this agreement. The president telling me that U.S. Special Envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are heading to Islamabad, Pakistan for meetings on Tuesday, possibly.
Yes, so great. Now, pretty much, here's what Iran's been saying, and this was played on Due Dissidence. Shout out to Keaton and, of course, Tusker.
This is Iranian Stephanie calling on channel 16. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. We will open it by the order of our leader, Imam Khamenei, not by the tweets of some idiot. If you want to pass through the strait, you must ask permission from Iranian Sepah Navy. All vessels that have a connection with our enemies will be targeted if they try to pass the Strait of Hormuz. Out.
Again, you know, all this could have been avoided if we, I don't know, controversial statement. And I'm going to make a very big controversial statement here, okay? If we did not, and I repeat, if we did not bomb Iran, you know, perhaps maybe things would be different. Perhaps maybe things would be different. But I just want to point this out here, you know, as the war intensifies, the United States Navy has just blown a hole through the engine room of an Iranian-flagged cargo ship. Say it with me, folks. What could go wrong?
Not to mention our military men right now, there is a food shortage and hygiene product shortage. So the ones, I think it's on the SS Abraham Lincoln and another in Tripoli. I think it's those two. And y'all quote me if I'm wrong, if those are two ships, but they had they're running out of their ration. So these guys are unable to eat. That's been all over the news, that their families can't even send them any ration right now because people can't get through the Strait of Hormuz. So these people are eating food that is not healthy. If y'all have y'all heard about that? When I heard it, I said, what? So these people are unable, the soldiers are unable to get their ration. So you're dealing with that right now. So they're tired, they're hungry, and they're fatigued. This is a recipe for disaster right now. This is a damn mess. This is a mess. I've never seen it like this before. So and the thing is, the family is actually trying to send stuff to them, but they can't get it to them because of the simple fact of nothing. And I'll go to that report a little bit in a little bit because I do want to talk about that. So I'm gonna keep playing this, and I actually have the actual, let me share. I have the actual report with this guy, and I actually had this up, and I wasn't quite sure if this was the right one. But let me share, go back to this tab. So it's a lot going on. And I feel bad for the men and the women that are stuck over there and they don't have food. They don't have any ration. It's a horrible thing and it's disgusting. So I'm gonna play a little bit more.
Panic. It's only just World War III.
Motor Vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Okay, we gave the player.
And what could go wrong, people? What could possibly go wrong? You see, it's again, just want to point this out here. Here's the president. Donald Trump announces new talks with Iran, warns no more Mr. Nice Guy. You know what would have been really nice? Maybe not bombing Iran on the behalf of Israel. Okay? You know, I mean, that would have been nice. I mean, Israel for the last 40 years has been saying that Iran for the last 40 years was always a week away from having the big bad bomb. Okay? Like, seriously, Iranian scientists, are you that slow and stupid? Oh, man, we're always a week away. I just wish we weren't sitting on our asses every day, smoking pot and eating potato chips and filling our bellies with diet soda. In Israel, you knew this for 40 years, but you always knew that Iran was a week away? What were you guys doing? Sitting on your asses, smoking pot, filling your bellies with diet soda? Come on. Oh, my God. I mean, come on. Always a week away. Always a week away. I got to take a dump, and I'm always a week away from going to the toilet. He was heading to Pakistan for the next round of Iran peace talks on Monday. President Donald Trump has announced that he's renewing his threat to strike Iran's infrastructure if no deal is reached. In a Truth Social post on Sunday, Trump accused Tehran of violating the temporary ceasefire. You know, I don't know. Remember the last time we had a ceasefire and Israel effed it up? then you got the wrong country starting with the letter I. Wrong country starting with the letter I. Who is it, Kit? Indonesia? No. India? No. It's Ireland, isn't it? Yes, it's Ireland.
So y'all get the gist of what's transpiring right now. It's a heated powder keg right now because you got Iran, and you see what's going on at the Strait right now. They're literally at war, and you got one end, the U.S. blocking, and you got the other end, Iran is blocking, and it's heated, y'all. So let's go to the I just got my hair braided, y'all, and it's tight. I shouldn't have put this cap on, but my head is big. So okay, I'm gonna go to him real quick. So this is Larry C. Johnson, the former CIA intel analyst that the other guy I just showed y'all is talking about. This report came out 14 hours ago. So this ain't like an month-old report. This came out recently. And this is the man that made the claim that he was ready to put his hand, he was getting ready to bomb. And that Trump was getting ready to hit that, he wanted that nuke code, and they wouldn't allow him to have it. And that ultimately, I mean, I'll play a little bit of it. Hold on. So you can.
This is the perfect pair for your iPhone, and it replaces 3 different chargers. So when I travel, I don't pack extra cables.
Undeclared wars are commonplace. Tragically, our government engages in preemptive war, otherwise known as aggression, with no complaints from the American people. Sadly, we have become accustomed to living with the illegitimate use of force by government. To develop a truly free society, the issue of initiating force must be understood and rejected.
What if sometimes to love your country, you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger? Monday, April 20th, 2026. Larry Johnson joins us now. It seems like we just said goodbye to each other, Larry. We had such a busy week last week. Thank you for all your time and all your insight. Before we get into the question of the morning, which is who controls Hormuz,
right?
Why would the Iranians bother to negotiate with J.D. Vance and his 2 Zionist monitors after the U.S. Navy engaged in an act of piracy against an Iranian cargo ship on the high seas?
Well, they won't until the United States lifts the so-called blockade and abides by the 10 points that Iran presented them with 2 weeks ago. So they're very serious about this. And, you know, this is reminiscent of the negotiations with Russia, or the attempted negotiations with Russia. The Russians made very clear what their non-negotiable items were, and the United States kept pretending that, oh, they don't mean that. They're just playing it's a negotiation ploy. So that's their initial demand, and we'll go back and forth. No, that's, Iran's in the same position. So they're going to retaliate for this attack on this ship that was coming from China to Iran. And, the escalation will be on. I look, the United States is planning to attack Iran. That's clear. There is no genuine desire to have a peace agreement.
Wow. Are Vance, Witkoff, and Kushner in Islamabad? And are they just sitting there waiting for the Iranian delegation, or don't we know?
I don't know. They were insistent yesterday that they were going, and the Iranians are saying we're not. So it's an impasse. The Pakistanis are working. They're working hard to try to pull this off. What I was told by someone who had direct information was, as of Friday, there actually had been an agreement, a decision on the part of the United States to make those concessions that Iran was demanding, and that this would have brought it into it. And then Trump got into the middle of it and blew it up. So, Vance apparently is still working behind the scenes. I think they recognize that the administration is in real trouble politically. That if they continue down this road to war, that it is going to destroy any hope of a Republican victory in November. It's going to leave Trump isolated. His polling now is now 37% favorability, and that continues to drop. More than 53% of the American people are very opposed to this war in Iran, and the support for what's going to Israel. So, they're not insane. They recognize they've got some problems. They got to try to deal with it. And then there was a report out that they had an emergency meeting Saturday night, and apparently, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes, and General Dan Kane stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground. So, there's some very, very bizarre things going on in D.C.
Well, on Saturday night, excuse me, Larry, Trump said, this is hard to say with a straight face, but this is what he said. Trump said that the U.S. and Iran would jointly excavate the enriched uranium and remove it. Has he lost his mind?
A short answer, yes. There's Donald Trump there is something seriously wrong with him in terms of what his tweeting on social media, or on Truth Social in particular, and then the crazy public statements. Go back and look at what he said on Friday. In the period of about 30 minutes, he claimed that Iran's agreed, there's going to be peace, a deal is near. It was all manipulating the stock market and the commodities markets, but none of it was true. And Iran, Iran's sitting there watching what he's saying and is saying, you begin to come to the position that you can't trust anything that is coming out of Donald Trump's mouth.
Well, did the Navy fire at this Iranian vessel, either to terrify the crew or disable it?
Yeah, no, they fired at it. There is a video showing the ship firing. You don't see the impact. The reports on social media, on Telegram, and stipulate that it hit the engine room, disabled the vessel. Now, again, it's important to emphasize this is an Iranian flag vessel. It was coming from China, headed to Iran, and it's a container ship. Those 40-foot containers that show up on the back of trucks roaring along the highways in the United States. That's what they were carrying.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete.
Wow. What do your sources tell you about what's going to happen next? You told us about General Kane storming out of the meeting at which the president said he wanted to familiarize himself with the nuclear codes, but yet they keep reintroducing troops to the area. Right. What are Trump and Hegseth, either with or without? And there's General Kane storming out.
Yeah, you see the head, the head down. Is it right there? Yeah. So
what are Trump and Hegseth planning, according to your sources?
Well, they're all over the board. Initially, they were planning a massive bombing campaign, as Trump has said it outright, that they're going to hit all the power plants, all the bridges. Then what I heard, middle of last week is that Trump decided to back off of that, and that instead they were going to try to go for the highly enriched uranium, which means a special operations unit would be inserted somewhere. But I think they're now back to the massive bombing campaign. There is a lot of activity underway. They call it the pizza index. You look at late night orders of pizza that are delivered to the Pentagon. Those were way up yesterday. So they're getting ready to do something. Now they're going to be hindered by it. Iran's going to be covered with clouds. So they may, the weather will affect any attempt to insert a special operations unit. It wouldn't necessarily affect, an attack with, Tomahawk missiles and other cruise missiles. Going after the bridges and the power plants. But again, Iran's made it clear if they do that, Iran is going to wipe out the power plants in the Gulf Arab states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and that's becoming an issue because about mid-May, the weather over there it's like a pizza oven. It's that hot. It is blistering hot early on. I experienced that 20 years ago when I was in Al Udeid in the middle of May, headed into Iraq. It is just, if you don't have air conditioning, people would be abandoning those cities.
Wow. I mean, I guess it's crystal clear that all those military facilities in the Gulf are useless to protect the countries in which the facilities are located. Utterly useless.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no, they've some now, like the Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, they're completely useless. That's not going to be re-inhabited. Al Udeid is still somewhat intact, and reportedly the what is called the Combined Air Operations Center is still up and functioning, but at least 13 of the bases have suffered significant damage, and Iran will continue to target them if or when the ceasefire breaks down.
Here's the two-bit political hack masquerading as the U.S. ambassador to the UN, no diplomatic experience and no diplomacy of tone, saying, oh, bridges and power plants, they're not war crimes. Number 4, Chris.
I hope we don't have to go back to a military option, but President Trump's made it very clear. And by the way, bridges, power plants that are run by the IRGC, which runs the entire military, are absolute legitimate military targets, not only now, but have been historically. That is a false, fake, and ridiculous notion that this is some type of war crime.
Yeah, look, Waltz is putting out the propaganda line to justify attacking Iran. And it's all predicated on a lie. And we've heard Trump repeat this, that, these presidents, the presidents 46 years ago, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, they failed to take care of Iran. Iran, apart from the hostage taking of the U.S. Embassy in 1979, which was, the students were outraged that the United States was still harboring the Shah. They'd had a popular uprising to toss the Shah out. Here was the United States still protecting him. But apart from that, it was not Iran that started attacking the United States. It was the United States that started attacking Iran, beginning with encouraging and supporting Saddam Hussein to carry out start a war with Iran in September of 1980. And then that was continued by Ronald Reagan providing chemical weapons. The very weapons we claimed we were looking for back in 2003, we were the ones that provided those to Saddam. So, this screwed up narrative, this lie, that Iran has been our enemy. No, Iran has been reacting and responding to our attacks all along.
the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu over Lebanon. I mean, Trump can't control Netanyahu. The Israelis want to seize that land to make it a part of greater Israel, and they'll never stop attacking civilians as a way to put pressure on Hezbollah. Agreed?
Well, not just that. The attack on Christianity that these Israeli fanatics are carrying out. An image emerged over the weekend that the IDF confirmed of this. Look at this Israeli soldier destroying an icon of the crucifixion of Jesus.
Right.
Just talk about feeding into a narrative.
Well, now it's not only this soldier, because this is a video. We're not playing the video. We're taking stills from it. But one of his buddies filmed him doing this.
Yeah. So this attack on Christianity with this Israeli Zionist government has been doing. I mean, go back to Easter a couple of weeks back. They closed the Church of the Holy Sepulchre a week before Easter. Something that had not been done in the entire history since that church was built.
I'm Harry Enton, and today we are running all the numbers on Israel's U.S. popularity problem. Israel is losing support here in the United States, even amongst Republicans. Take a look at this data. Take a look at this data amongst young Republicans. Look at this massive shift that we have had over just the last 4 years, the net favorability of Israel among Republicans under the age of 50. You go back to 2022, 2 thumbs up for Israel amongst young Republicans. But by 2025, look at this. Already a 30-point shift away, their net favorability down to -2. Today, look at this, -16 points. That's an over 40-point shift in just 1, 2, 3, 4 years' time away from Israel amongst young Republicans. But that's not the only part of the Republican base where Israel is struggling. How about amongst moderate or liberal Republicans? They make up about a third of the Republican base at this point in time. The net favorability of Israel with moderate liberal Republicans back in 2022, again, 2 thumbs up. You'll notice I do a lot of Siskel and Ebert references. I just really like them. At plus 26 points. Today, again, negative territory, -9 points. That's a 35-point shift in just 4 years' time, with moderate liberal Republicans shifting away from Israel. And this, to me, gives you a good indication of why one of the more ardent critics of Israel within the Republican Party is actually, at this point, favored to win a competitive primary. You may know him, Thomas Massie. He, of course, is the representative from Kentucky's 4th District. He has been opposed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump has endorsed his opponent. Pro-Israel voices are also opposed. Many of them have also opposed Thomas Massie. But at this point, look at this. His chance of being the Republican nominee, winning that Republican primary in Kentucky's 4th District, is actually more likely than not to occur. Look at this. According to the Cow Sheep prediction market at this point, a 71% chance. But here's the thing. Again, I'm building blocks here. It's not just on the right. It's not just amongst Republicans where Israel is losing support amongst the unexpected places. How about among younger men who were a key part of Donald John Trump's coalition back in 2024? They have very much shifted away from Israel. Look at this. Net favorability of Israel among men under the age of 50. In 2022, not too bad, but not too hot to trot either at -3 points. By 2025, again, down we go, -22 points. That is a 19-point shift in just 3 years' time. But it gets even worse. Look at this for Israel. -47 points. That's a 44-point shift away from Israel on the net favorability amongst young men who, of course, shifted massively into the Republican column back in 2024. And they have been shifting away from Israel over the last 4 years. But here's the thing. You want to talk about unexpected, perhaps no number I have seen is more unexpected than this one. Because when we talk about the Democratic base, right, and we talk about them being against Israel, that's been true amongst liberal and very little liberal Democrats for a decent period of time. But now we're even seeing it among moderate and conservative Democrats, because take a look at these numbers. I mean, this is a sea change. This is a sea change. Net favorability of Israel amongst non-liberal Democrats, that is those who identify as either moderate or conservative. Back in 2022, Israel was on the plus side of the ledger. I'll give it 1 thumbs up at plus 3 points. Look at this. By 2025, minus 30 points. That's a 33-point shift in just 3 years' time. You think that's a big shift? How about now? Look at this. Among moderate conservative Democrats, the net favor of Israel down into the Sea of Galilee at minus 55 points. That's a nearly 60-point switcheroo in just 4 years' time. Now, why are we seeing these shifts? Why are we seeing these shifts amongst Democrats, amongst Republicans, at least certain portions of the Republican electorate? And why are we seeing it among younger men who are a big part of Trump's coalition? It is because it is part of a larger sea change against Israel. I mean, just take a look at these overall numbers right now. The net favorability of Israel among all adults. In 2022, it was plus 13 points. I'll give that 2 thumbs up. Look at by 2025, minus 8 amongst that were more than 7 is Palestinians. Back in this response to it, take a look here. I mean, this is a change. This is a change. Who Americans sympathize more with, the Israelis or the Palestinians? Back in 2022, before the October 7th attacks, it was the Israelis by 28 points. That would even climb into the 40s, 50s, depending on which polling you looked at in terms of who Americans sympathize with, the margin very much on the side of Israel. But look at where we are now. In 2026, Americans sympathize more with the Palestinians by an 11-point margin. That is a shift of nearly 40 points in just 4 years' time. And when you compare it to 2023, after the October 7th attacks, we're talking about what, a 50, 60-point change in the wrong direction. If you are a fan of Bibi.
Ultimately, y'all see the tide shifting. You see everybody's kind of like this war. You got the situation with they having to get Trump and rally him. Yeah, a lot of Americans saying this is Israel's war. This is not America's war. And again, it's like it's getting interesting, y'all. I told y'all I would play the last thing, and then I'm gonna go to bed because I'm sleepy. And then we'll reconvene another day. Me and my family got to hit it tomorrow. Okay, let's see. I hope they're done packing. Let's see. Let's go to what's the other one? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm yawning. Okay. Let me see. And I'll play this, and then I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see y'all later on this week. Where is my report? Hold on. My daughter and them are loud. Shortage. I had it. I may have to reconvene. Hello. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna close up, and I'll do something this week. Yeah, I gotta fade out too. I'm gonna present this one, and then I'm out. Okay, share tab.
A U.S. service member has exposed the reality of life aboard one of America's most powerful warships. a viral image from the USS Abraham Lincoln, CVN-72, shows a meal that's raising serious questions. On the tray, a small portion of boiled carrots, a dry ground meat patty, and a gray slab of processed meat. Most compartments? Empty. The image has sparked outrage, especially given the bigger picture, because this is happening while the US defense budget is nearing $1 trillion. So what's going on? This isn't standard Navy life. The Lincoln, along with ships like the USS Tripoli, LHA-7, is deployed in a high-intensity environment in the Middle East. No port calls, constant operations, and strained supply lines. Families of sailors and Marines say food quality has dropped sharply, meals described as tasteless, portions too small, fresh produce almost non-existent. Some say crews are constantly hungry, rationing food, splitting portions, and trying to make it last. Morale, they warn, is slipping. And now, a bigger concern is emerging. How will sailors sustain themselves if this continues? Because in a conflict zone, endurance is everything. Long hours, high stress, continuous operations, and without proper nutrition, fatigue sets in faster, focus drops, and performance suffers. Care packages, once a lifeline, are also suspended due to logistical disruptions. No extra food, no backup supplies, no relief. So how do they survive? For now, by adapting, stretching rations, sharing what little is available, relying on discipline and routine. But that's not a long-term solution, because even the most advanced warship in the world depends on something simple, feeding its crew. So why is this happening? Extended deployment without resupply stops, combined with the demands of ongoing operations, is pushing logistics to the limit. And that's where the contrast becomes striking. A near $1 trillion Pentagon budget, yet reports of empty trays at sea. It raises a larger question. In modern warfare, is enough reaching the people who need it most? Because in the end, war isn't just about weapons. It's about the people who operate them. And right now, those people are running on less.
Wow. So with that being said, I got one more funny thing to show y'all, and then I'm out. Where is it? Have y'all heard about Pete Hegseth doing the speech, the prayer? And I heard this morning, I laughed. And we're going to close it on this funny moment. But ultimately, I'm going to close it and I'm going to wrap it up. This is getting interesting. This is getting dangerous because not only do you have that, you have an erratic president they're trying to keep him from destroying everything. Then you got tired seamen that's out and that don't have any food and they're rationing the little bit of food that they have out. So if you're on an empty stomach, you can't function. Y'all remember when Pete Hegseth said that soldiers eat a lot anyway? They need to have stricter diets and, they need to be slimmer. And y'all remember when he said that about 2 years ago? That shows that they don't care. But y'all remember that. I got to go find their report. But he was cracking jokes that, overweight people can't be in the military. So it makes me wonder if that has something to do with it. But I got to find. He is a laughing stock. So it's gonna be some cussing in here. So Mimas, if you don't want cussing, please leave because y'all know that. Well, no, he may not do. Hold on, he may not do any cussing on this because this was a prayer. Hold on. Okay, Pete Hegseth 4 days ago quoted from Pulp Fiction. Let's go
to a prayer that I'll read, which was also handed to me a couple of days ago, delivered from the lead mission planner of Sandy 1. Sandy 1 were the A-10s that were a part of the daylight rescue mission of 44 Alpha, Dude 44 Alpha out of Iran. And if you know anything about Sandys, their job is to bring those A-10s and put them in between the enemy and that down pilot. And so their job is to literally sacrifice themselves for someone else. And in Iran, in contested territory, that's exactly what they did. So this prayer was recited by Sandy 1, which is one of the Sandys, to all Sandys, all those A-10 crews, prior to all CSAR missions, but especially this CSAR mission that happened in real time. They call it CSAR 2517, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 2517. So the prayer is CSAR 2517, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
People are making fun of Pete Hegseth because he read a
Hold on one second. They let my dog in. Hold on. All right, let me find the verse that he said. Oh, here we go.
And I will strike down upon thee, and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother.
A recent speech from Pete Hegseth may sound familiar to movie fans. The Secretary of Defense cited a Bible verse when speaking at a Pentagon worship service on April 15th, but the scripture he quoted appeared to resemble an embellished version made famous in Quentin Tarantino's 1994 classic Pulp Fiction.
Ezekiel 25:17.
They call it CSAR 2517, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17.
Hegseth credited the prayer to a U.S. Air Force team that rescued American soldiers from Iran in recent weeks, but social media was quick to draw parallels with that iconic monologue from Samuel L. Jackson.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
The actual Ezekiel 25:17 verse is quite simple, reading, "And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall lay my vengeance upon them." Tarantino's adaptation of the passage drew from a 1970s Japanese martial arts movie, and Jackson's performance elevated it to a pop culture phenomenon. While it seems Hegseth is aware that the version he was told also takes creative liberty, it's not clear if he's familiar with its similarity to Pulp Fiction. Neither Hegseth nor the Department of Defense immediately responded to the online uproar.
And these are the individuals that are sitting in the room making decisions. Man, it's a scary day. But I knew this. I'll be honest, y'all. I knew this was going to happen. I knew Trump was coming. When Trump came, he was going to bring vengeance. He was going to be crazy, and it was going to be an interesting time. I knew it. I said they got him here for a reason. I really believe that's why I was telling everybody during the election. I was like, y'all are shocked. I think ultimately his goal is to pretty much bankrupt the system. Whatever company, whatever business, whatever anything he touches, he bankrupts. So that's why I was like, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I was like, go ahead, Trump, do your thing. I had a little faith in him. I said, maybe he going to do right. Maybe he going to do right because he's going to win it. But the more I said, this man is erratic and this is going to be an interesting time. I am just sitting here like, all right, y'all, let's brace ourselves. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I will say this much. I was making a joke. I said, at least the news is going to be interesting. And it's been very interesting, y'all. Very, very interesting. But my concern is how he's treating our soldiers, you know, and how they're mistreating our soldiers. Now, the one that kind of threw me off was Israel. I kind of figured Israel was going to pop off with them as well. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting time. But I wanted to kind of talk about the fact that they had to not allow him to come into the war room to make the call, and they took that nuke code away from him, so or didn't allow him to have that nuke code. So yeah. So y'all, I'm gonna go to bed. Thank y'all for joining me. Trying to get back into the swing of things. As you can see, I'm still doing my thing. So y'all, let's hang tight and see what's going on. I'm going to bed, y'all. As y'all can see, I'm sleepy. And when I get sleepy, I start rambling. So I feel rambling coming. So, all right, family. Love y'all.
All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we're going deep. Love talk, Sister E. God's work, Sister E. Charity, Sister E. Let's talk.